Almost every game these days uses camera shake. This is because it adds a lot to the game feel. It makes the player feel part of the game and not just a spectator. I'm Serge the 7th, and today I'm going to show you how you can implement camera shake in Unity using Cinemachine and Scriptable Objects. The main benefit of this method is that any game object can shake the camera, even if it is in a different scene. I implemented this method in the game I'm developing, Got It. I will link it in the description in case you want to try it out yourself. I created a new Unity project and I added a cube, a plane, and a button. The first thing we're gonna do is import Cinemachine. Window, Package Manager, Unity Registry, Cinemachine. The next step is optional, but highly recommended. We're gonna import the Scriptable Objects architecture package. To do this, we have to go to the Assets store. We search for Scriptable Object Architecture and add it to My Assets. Back in Unity, we open the Package Manager. This time we click on My Assets and select Scriptable Objects Architecture. Download and import. Okay, so let's create a Cinemachine camera. Click on Cinemachine, Cinemachine Virtual Camera. In order to make the camera shake, we have to add noise. Add basic multi-channel purling. And for noise profile, choose 6D shake. You can experiment with the different profiles, but 6D shake works fine for me. Set the amplitude to 0 and the frequency to 1. Alright, so let's get into the code. Let's create a C# script and call it camera shake. Open the script. We're going to need a reference to the camera itself. So write serialized field, private, Cinemachine virtual camera, and we'll call it camera. We could get it in the awake method, but I prefer to make it a serialized field. Next, let's create a public method, void, and call it onShakeTrigger. It will receive a camera shake arcs, which we have to create. This method is responsible for performing the shake. Okay, so let's create the camera shake arcs. Public class camera shake arcs. It will only have two float properties and a constructor. So public float amount, and it will have a get. This will dictate the amount of shake, and then public float time, which is of course the time the camera will be shaking. And for the constructor, public camera shake arcs, and it will receive a float amount and a float time. And then we just initialize them. Nice! Now that we have the camera shake arcs, let's fill in our onShakeTrigger method. First, let's get the noise component from the camera. Camera.getCinemachine component, and then we'll get the Cinemachine basic multi-channel purling. Open and close parentheses, and cache that into a variable. We'll call it noise. Then set the amplitude gain to our camera shake arcs.amount. Now we have to set the amplitude to 0 again after the specified time has passed. To do this, we use a coroutine. Type start coroutine, open parentheses, and then write gradually reduce shake, open parentheses again, camera shake arcs.time, and our noise. Create the function private IEnumerator gradually reduce shake, and then it will receive a camera shake arcs, and a Cinemachine basic multi-channel purling, and we'll call it noise. Inside here, you could just write yield return new wait for seconds, camera shake arcs.time, and then set the amplitude to 0. But I think this looks a bit abrupt, so I prefer to reduce the amplitude gradually. Let's create a var time equal to camera shake arcs.time, add another variable reduction factor equals to amplitude divided by time, and then we'll make a while loop. The condition time is greater than 0. We'll reduce the time by time.delta_time each frame, as well as the amplitude by our reduction factor multiplied by time.delta_time. Before closing the loop, don't forget to wait a frame each time with yield return null. And after the loop, we'll set the amplitude to 0, just in case. The onShake trigger method is going to be called from a scriptable object event. So let's do that now. I'm not going to go much into how scriptable object events work, but if you want to know more, you can watch Ryan Ripple's talk on the topic. I'll link that in the description. But in short, this is just a way to send information. And since scriptable objects are scene independent, you can use it no matter the scene the game object is in. If you downloaded the Scriptable Object architecture package, skip this step. Create a public class camera shake event and make it inherit from Scriptable Object. Write the create asset menu attribute and fill out file name and menu name. Now, declare a private variable of type list camera shake event listener. Call it listeners and initialize it. Create the class, inherit from monoBehavior, and leave it empty for now. Now, create the methods addListener and removeListener. Both receive a camera shake event listener and check if it's contained in the list. For the add method, it adds it to the list if it's contained, and the exact opposite for the remove method. Next, let's create a public void race. Open parenthesis, camera shake arcs. Let's do listeners.forEach, and we're gonna use a lambda here, so if you don't know how it works, just follow along with me. We'll write listener, and then we'll write equals greater than, and then we'll write listener.onEventRaised, and open parenthesis, we'll pass the arcs here, and we'll close parenthesis. You could also do this in a for loop or a for each loop, but I like this one more because I think it's cleaner. We have to create the onEventRaised method, so let's do that now. In the camera shake event listener class, we'll need two serialized fields. First, a private camera shake event, we can call it event, and a private Unity event camera shake arcs, call it response. In our function, let's do response.invoke and we'll pass arcs. And last, we'll need to create the methods onEnable and onDisable. We'll call addListener in onEnable and removeListener in onDisable. If you haven't downloaded the Scriptable Object architecture package, skip this next section. Locate the GameEventBase class in the hierarchy and create a class called CameraShakeEvent, inheriting from the GameEventBase class. Move it into its own script and add the Create Asset menu attribute. I like to put the CameraShakeArcs class here, but it's up to you. Repeat for the base game event listener with the peculiarity that you'll have to create a response. It's just a class that inherits from Unity event, in this case of type CameraShakeArcs. Put that into the responses folder and you're good to go. We need one more script. We'll call it CameraShakeTrigger. In it, we'll need a reference to the CameraShake event, 2 floats for the amount and the time, and a bool called shakeOnEnable. Let's do a public method, void shakeCamera, with no arguments. All we have to do is raise the event. So CameraShakeEvent.raise, and we'll create a new CameraShakeArcs, and we'll pass it the shake amount and the time. Then we'll write the onEnable method, and inside, if shakeOnEnable is true, then we'll call shakeCamera. And that is all we need. Let's link everything up and give it a try. First, create a CameraShake event, right-click, create, and search for the event. If you downloaded the Scriptable Object architecture package, it will be inside the Game Events folder. Otherwise, it will appear wherever you indicated in the Create Asset menu attribute. Our Cinemachine camera will have the CameraShake script and the CameraShake event listener. Fill in the reference for our camera, the reference for our event, and then make sure to call the onShakeTrigger method here in the response. Now, we'll add the CameraShakeTrigger component to our cube. Fill in the reference of the event, choose your desired amount and time, and in this case, I'm gonna set shakeOnEnable to true. I'll do the same for the button, but I'll leave shakeOnEnable as false, and just call the shakeCamera method from the onClick event. Let's see if it works. Perfect! Before ending the video, I wanted to show a practical case. So I created a new scene and I added here an explosion. And the good thing is that this explosion can shake the camera from another scene. So I added the CameraShakeTrigger component, as you can see. And now if I were to load the main scene and our new scene at the same time, and I were to hit play, you will see how the camera on the main scene shakes. Did you see it? Let me do that again. So disable, enable, and it shakes the camera, even though they are in different scenes. That's why this method is so powerful and actually so practical. So that is everything for this video. If you liked it and want to support me, consider subscribing to the channel. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.